What up, peeps? Dysfunctional family for another Saturday night show. As always, we got the lovely T-Cat, which on my screen should be right there. And then down below her is the salad. Just don't toss him. And then down below me, I don't know if you can see her screen or not, but we got the lovely Kathy.
Hi. Hey, everyone.
So give me 1 second, folks, and I'll get the chat pulled up here.
Oh, now I know what you were talking about.
Okay. Shit, sorry. I'm trying to have multiple chat windows to help watch and keep track of.
So here in chat, we got Vaping Joe M. What's up, Joe? Missy Adams. We go live when we go live. Missy, you better catch it. If you don't, watch the replay. Robert, what's up, man? Jim Bookie, how you doing? Shane Smith, what's up, brother? Kevin K, aloha. Good.
Hey.
Joshua Heiss, how you doing? Juan, what's up, man? So, this is going to be a very different live stream. This is going to be more on a serious note. Maybe share some laughs and have some jokes, but most of the time it's going to be serious. Give you access.
Just put me,
Put you as host?
No. You know what? Access to your computer.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Juan.
What screen do you want? Do you want 1 or 2?
I want the one that has Zoom on it. Or not Zoom, Streamlabs. Hi, everyone.
Well, that'll be...
I have to take over for a couple of seconds. Now that I know exactly what he's talking about. Streamlabs is right...
right there. Bam.
Ooh, Juan says hi to Kathy.
Hi, Juan. Don't mind me, everybody.
Sounds like Kathy has a secret admirer.
No.
So you're all going to be looking at my background on my second monitor for a while, which happens to be a picture of the greatest monster of all time, Godzilla.
Ooh. Radkowski. I want to hug Robert Radkowski.
Okay.
I'd love to hug Jennifer Bryant.
All right. Boom.
I'm in a very...
Now that I know what he was talking about earlier. Now we're back.
Right. Jennifer, what is up? So, as you all can tell by the title, suicide awareness and anti-bullying. Well, let me just say that I almost did not want to go live this weekend because I was wanting to pay my respects to a long since deceased friend of mine who committed suicide back in 2012. Her birthday fell on the weekend that myself, T-Cat, Salad, Vaping Joe M, and Jared had a little barbecue to make up for MVE. But with doing that, I could not pay my respects, but I was originally not going to do a live today because I was going to hop out on my motorcycle and go out for a ride for her, but then Truckin' Vapes, as I was talking to him one day,
Click the chat and then move it over.
There we go.
So then it can hide the bar.
Technical difficulties.
There's always technical difficulties. But talking to Truckin' the other night, it was actually while he was doing a live while he was working. I mentioned it, but then he brought up the suggestion of doing a suicide awareness show, which I've been wanting to do for quite some time. So yeah, show goes on as planned, but kill two birds with one stone. Pay my respects and suicide awareness. Now, little story here, and if I start tearing up, I apologize. Who am I kidding? I'm not going to apologize for that. We're all human.
My Jay.
I had a friend. Me and her name was Lauren. Me and her were very, very close, and I mean so close to the point where one or the other could say we're dating, and the other person would be like, okay, like that close. We rode four-wheelers together, went mudding. I always took her out to drag races up in Osborne, dirt tracking in Lakeside. Always had a good time. And then one day, while I was in school, I was 17 when this happened. I was a senior in high school. I got a phone call from actually my boss, who I worked for at the time at a local grocery store. Which me and her were also pretty good friends too, and she called me and said Lauren passed away this morning. It's like, well, what happened? Because I could never recall her being sick or had any other health condition. She was a pretty healthy woman, and that's when they told me she put a gun in her mouth and pulled the trigger. It actually took a minute for it to sink in. Because I was in first period. As I'm getting a phone call. Sorry about that. I hope that doesn't get copyrighted.
Didn't hear it clearly enough.
So, I got the call first period, and it didn't quite sink in yet. I was more in disbelief. But third period rolled around, and that's when shit hit the fan for me. Right at the start of first period, I literally collapsed on the floor crying. My gigantic ass fell to the floor, and I couldn't stop crying. And even though it's been almost 7 years, she passed away on December 5th, 2012, but her birthday was on September 22nd. So 2 dates that are burned in my brain for the rest of my days. Always done something every year for her birthday and for the day she passed. So, but I've always wanted to do a suicide awareness show, but never got around to it. Well, let's just say with the help of Salad and Truckin', sparked the idea to finally do it. Suicide is not something to laugh at. It leaves a lot of people questioning and a lot of people hurt.
It's never the answer.
I mean, look at me. 7 years later, and I'm still wondering what happened to cause her to do that. And there are days where I'm a firm believer in spirits, and I don't know if anybody else is, but there are days where I can still feel her spirit lingering, and those are usually my worst days. Because in a way, I can feel the pain that she was in when she was alive, but I could not understand it. Better go ahead and grab my tissues while I can. It's just a hard feeling. The people that are close to the person that died, that pain does not go away. even years and years down the road. You know, I've always been strong. But there are just some days where you just can't. You know, I was always known to be a big, strong guy who can handle anything. Take a beating. Always got beaten down and got right back up. But when it comes to this, I have no strength. I'm as weak as the bugs that are crushed underneath my feet.
He's a big softy, guys. And we love him for it.
This is why I call him Bear, because he's really a teddy bear.
So even during a sad moment, you can still put a smile on. Because regardless of all the pain that she's been through, you know for a fact she's in peace. She's not suffering. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I did try to commit suicide. I was 13 years old when I first had my first attempt. I was medicated because I was overly stressed, and at the time I started a new school. I just left a school that literally beaten the crap out of me, tortured me, had me leaving on the ice with my face cut up. And I didn't tell anybody that I was being bullied. I just said I slipped on ice and I opened my face on ice. Kind of cracked it down so it looked like I smashed my face against it, even though you could tell that I gotten bruises by punching, kicking. It was all over my body. It wasn't just in one location. So I started a new school, thought that was the end of it, but it wasn't. And the bullying kept going and going and going. I got super depressed, and then I went to go see a therapist, and his words, I don't deal with young teenagers because their hormones aren't 100%. So I'm going to give her this medication. It's supposed to be a muscle relaxant, and it should help her. Not knowing that I had adverse effects, it did the opposite. Instead of making it me more relaxed and chilled out, it ended up that it intensified everything that I was feeling, and my muscles were contracting. And as my parents went to sleep, I got a rope to get myself ready to kill myself. And if it wasn't for my friend that was coming by, I didn't know that he was. He messaged me on MSN at the time, that wonderful chat room. And he came over and he tackled me down. Not just one occasion, but also another time when I was 16. When I was 16, both times he told me don't ever do that. He scared me. He stayed with me for the entire night. When I was 16, I drank so much. I was heartbroken. Nobody really could get through to me except for this one friend. And he basically had a bottle of Bacardi, coming over for a few drinks, play some video games, and I was just so down on my luck at the time that I tried to commit suicide again. This time he had to cut the rope. And then I ran away from home. The whole shebang happened, and then I met my ex, who eventually I fell even worse into a depression. I was alone all the time. My sons were taken from me, and again, I tried committing suicide, and it was my dog that saved me. I was ready to off myself. I went to go take a bunch of medications, thinking everything was perfectly fine. I drank a ton that night. And 1 second. Turn that down now. Okay. I thought she turned up the TV.
It's still pretty.
Yeah. She didn't turn it up, that's the thing.
It's when people stop talking.
And then, oh, okay. And then as I was taking the pills, I took a couple of the pills that I was prescribed, and my dog laid on me, and he just looked up at me and gave me that look of, what the hell are you doing? You're gonna leave me like this? And it broke my heart. And I was hurting a lot more than what you guys have ever seen. I thought I was never gonna make out of it at all.
And that feeling
All
is the
right,
worst
Shane,
feeling.
thank you for weighing in.
Thanks, Shane. Not a problem.
Understood, Shane.
So yeah, it was pretty bad. It gets super emotional, to the point where when I do eventually talk about it even more so in my vlogs, when I feel ready to, because I'm still not ready to actually admit what was going on in my brain, how I was feeling, there was just so much going on that I haven't even told my brother, my mom, the severity it had really gotten. That almost made me off myself, and I was close to doing it. And if it wasn't for my dog, I wouldn't be around. So, yeah.
Do you need to borrow my tissues?
That's a long way to have a wet.
That you're gonna need to have be the stretchy man. And then I had a few friends that committed suicide. That one was an accidental suicide.
So my story is a little bit more on the other side of the fence. High school, middle school time, I was a little hellion. I was the bully. It wasn't until a few years after graduating high school that I started turning around and reaching out to individuals that I had bullied and was trying to apologize and make a friendship out of if they'd have me as a friend. And in the process of reaching out to one of them, he died due to, can't remember if it was an allergic reaction or cardiac arrest while at work. And I had spoken to him the week before to have plans to meet up and talk that following weekend.
Isabella, I'm streaming.
Kills me that I wasn't able to make that amends, make that known to him before he passed.
But I think deep down, I think he knew you were trying.
I did not catch a word of that monster. There's some background noise going on that is drowning you out.
Yeah, there is. I can't tell where it's coming from. But I think deep down he knows.
Hey. Do this stuff.
I think deep down, though, Salad, I think he knew that you were trying. But life just threw him a curveball and took him.
Right.
You know, I've lost more than one friend, but I've only lost one to suicide. And one is more than enough. I lost one friend to alcohol poisoning, and I lost another one to a motorcycle wreck. I wasn't there when he died, but, well, I wasn't there personally. I didn't see it happen, but I was in the same area as he was when it happened. I was down the road when it happened, and I didn't know it. Jennifer saying something in chat. My 16-year-old daughter was told this past Monday to go kill herself. She's in high school, and the staff don't play because that is considered bullying, so I called her counselor. And it is called counseling. My message to the people who say that shit: how fucking dare you? It doesn't matter your life situation. I don't care if you are a fucking Hollywood celebrity driving Lamborghinis and Ferraris every day just for the hell of it. Lighting up cigars with $100 bills. I don't give a shit who you are. I don't care if you make $5 a year. I don't care if you make $5 million a year. A human being is a human being. And if that person's a good person, they do not deserve that kind of treatment from fucks like you. I'm the kind of guy that would beat you down for it. Eat you alive. Because I've been bullied most of my young life. You want to know why I was bullied? And I can tell you why I was bullied. I'm originally from San Francisco, California, and I moved to Kansas City back in 2005. I was 10 years old. And I was bullied because I was a Cali boy. Just a boy from California who moved to Missouri, and I got bullied just for that. Because I was a Cali boy, because I was taller than everybody else, because I was a bigger guy. I hit 6 foot by the age of 11. But everybody thought, they thought they showed their cojones and bully me because it was the brave thing to do apparently in that fucking school. I don't tolerate bullying, and that's why there is no disrespect, none of that bullshit on this channel. Anybody who shows any kind of bullying gets booted out without any words said. I'm tired of seeing a good person's life be ruined all because somebody decides, oh, they're happy, I need to make them miserable. Fuck you for that.
Because of ignorance.
Hold on.
I got it.
Alright, thank you, Sally. Thank you very much. And also, folks, I'm starting to get a little drunk here, so I'm going to be a little non-filtered.
It's an emotional subject too, so it's definitely something that is very, very serious. I mean, I get you.
Thank you for understanding.
Everybody here gets you.
Well, everybody who understands me, thank you. Because that's why Lauren committed suicide, was because of bullying. Matter of
I'm a
fact,
survivor.
I thought about it a few times when I was younger, but I didn't do it. Because I would not wish that pain on anybody.
I wasn't even thinking about that.
I mean, of course, people don't think bullying is real.
Yeah. My child is text messaging me. I was bullied my entire life up until in high school. It all started because this girl, grade 1, my grandfather died. The one that I was super, super close to, and I was always emotional. And because I was weak, or I was the weaker one, you could say, and that's when she started bullying me the most. And everybody followed pursuit because, well, she was tough. She was a tough kid. She had a rougher life. People that knew her personally knew what was going on in her life. I had no clue. She had no clue what was going on in my life either. And because of her, she started the entire school beat down in grade 2.
Now,
Even people.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Basically, when my brother left school, because I'm never in the same school, when he went to high school in grade 2, that's when everything got worse. And people literally beating me down. The whole thing that happened outside, and I made it look like I slipped on ice. It took maybe like an hour or two for the teachers to even recognize that I was gone. It's pretty sad.
It's sad, yeah.
And what's even worse is that I tried to get some sort of teacher to recognize that this was happening without actually being a tattletale, because it got worse when I would say something. And none of the teachers acknowledged. They thought it was just kids just being kids. And it got to a point where I had all this built up anger that in grade 7, on my second last month before school ended, I lost all emotion, all control, and that's where the blackout started. And I beaten the crap out of 6 students in my class and got suspended for about a week because the principal finally figured out that I was being bullied.
The hounds of heck.
So that was fun. And then it just kept getting worse and worse over the years. I gotta turn down stuff here. But when I got into high school, she actually asked me to go for a coffee with her. And we got to learn about each other a little bit more and had a lot more of an understanding. She hasn't seen me for an entire year and a half and realized she didn't have that person that she could pick on anymore. She didn't have that person where she can actually take all of her aggression out and place it on the other person. She thought I had the perfect family. I found out that she lived with her grandparents because her parents didn't care about her. And everyone just kind of followed suit with her, and because I was the weakest link at the time, she picked me. And she didn't realize that my household was broken.
From ignorance, again.
Because, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when she realized one of the hardest times in my life, when I was 9 years old, I had to become a parent because my mom became paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
And so those days that I was so drawn and not focused, and I just was emotionless to everybody, she basically was even harder. But I didn't acknowledge her, nothing, and she just kept getting worse and worse and worse to the point where I actually took a month and a half out of school because of her.
Yeah.
See, my problem is I always held in my anger and my aggression.
Yeah.
And that is not a good thing to do.
No, it's not.
And I've been
But
in years of bullying, and I've held it in. I've held in all that rage, all that anger. While at the same time being a football player, an athlete, being built like a brick shithouse, and one day someone tried to test their luck against me, and it ended up me putting them in the hospital. I literally, let's just say the school had to get new lockers because I repeatedly slammed him against a locker.
Yeah. That was me very much of my childhood and teenage years. I kept a lot of it internal, and would always show everyone the smile. You know, no one would know anything that was happening in my family life or at school or the bullying that I was going through. It was all kept internal. You know, but in high school, I had this one friend that no matter how much I smiled and laughed, and no matter how much I would pretend everything was fine, she would take one look at me. We'd just walk into school, you know, and she'd look at me, and I'd be like, hi, you know, and she'd just take one look at my eyes, and she would know, and not know what, but who, how, and where almost. It was like she was a mind reader. She was that one friend that always knew when something was wrong, you know, and that, you know, have a friend like that sometimes you need them. But sometimes you don't, because you want those days where you want to sort of hide. But at the same time, those friends are the ones there that, like with you, T, that save your life, you know? And yeah, they do save your life. Unfortunately, we had another friend, that mutual friend, who, when we left high school, was in a time of need, and she was ringing another friend up, saying that she wasn't doing well and needed help, and this gentleman friend wasn't interested in helping, told her to read a book. Just said, oh, well, I'm busy, I'm watching a movie, just read a book. And she was calling for help and saying she wasn't doing well and she needed help. Please talk to her, you know, just keep her mind active. Please just help her. No, told her to read a book and hung up on her. Yeah, well, she didn't make it that night, did she? You know, we found out the next day what had happened, and we weren't all close with that girl, but we knew her. We'd all associated with her and been out with her, and we were all friends, but she was more of an associated friend, you know what I mean? But when we found out that one of our close friends that was a very good friend of hers told her to read a book and hung up on her in a time of need like that, who does that? You know? Just because you can't be bothered when someone is in need? No. No. I don't care what's happening in my life. If a friend or anyone needs me, I'll be there. I'm always there. You know?
Yep.
If someone needs me to talk to you because they're not feeling crash hot in any situation, I'm there and I'm putting an ear, a shoulder, whatever, for that person to listen to. And Stella, can I just say, you said you were a bully in school,
At one
and
point in
said
time.
you went, yeah, you said you went and made amends. Can I say thank you? Because I appreciate that. I really do, because I know how hard that is for people. You know, I had my high school bully come to my house at a party that I was having, and I refused to let him in. But he pulled me aside and he spoke to me and he admitted everything to me and he apologized to me. And I know he just wanted to come into the party because everyone was there, but he spoke to me and he spoke to me honestly, and I appreciated what he said to me. It was not so much how or anything, but it was what he said, and I appreciate that. And I know the type of guy you are, and I know what you're saying, and I appreciate that, and I give you kudos for that. Thank you, Sally. Because I know where you're coming from. I know that.
He's still an asshole, but he's a loving asshole.
Yeah. No, but
I'm a
it does
gentle
take
asshole, warm asshole.
No, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot for someone who was at one stage a bully to turn around and rectify and say, I did that and I want to turn that around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because not a lot of them do. And not a lot of them acknowledge or recognize that what they may have said hurt or fucked someone else up. You know? So I give, you know, I give honors or kudos or whatever the fuck you want to call it to someone that does. Sorry, excuse my language.
Well, see, that's what I do on a day-to-day basis, and T-Cat and Salad can attest to that. That I always spread comedy. I always try to say a few jokes, or say whatever, even doing a fucking wacky ass impression. I try to impersonate Fire Marshal Bill Burns from Living Color. Just in the attempt to put a smile on somebody's face.
Yeah.
You do kind of hover around the dad or terrible uncle jokes.
But they make you smile, though.
Sometimes.
When it's the dad jokes.
I'm pretty good at Fire Marshal Bill Burns, though, because both me and that character are wacky as fuck.
So I was just more surprised with my bully. Her and I made amends so early in high school. And then she just disappeared. She just stopped going to high school, or she went to a different high school. I don't know what happened. And I'll read that in a second. It's very shocking because I was nervous. I was ready for her to start her crap again. And instead it turned out she bought me a coffee. We sat down and we talked about everything. And then now I have her on Facebook. Her sister told me what had happened to her, that she ended up having brain surgery because she had a brain tumor. And she was closer to death. Yeah. And it actually got me emotionally, even though she caused me so much pain, I would never wish anything like that on her. And she has 3 kids. So it's her and I have very similar roads. She endorsed a lot of abuse. I've endorsed a lot of abuse. We both have 3 kids. She has 2 girls, 1 boy. I have 2 boys, 1 girl.
Yeah.
She ended up having a tumor. I ended up having, in a sense, tar buildup.
Yeah.
I didn't have to go for surgery. I just had to quit smoking. She had to quit everything. And yet, still to this day, I go on there and I'm like, how you doing? And like, it's like we never even had that history, ever.
A lot of my boys didn't try to make amends. A few did, but not a whole lot. If I had to look back and make a head count of how many people bullied me over my time in school, from kindergarten all the way up until graduation, I want to give it a rough ballpark of 30 people.
Oh God, yeah.
So many people hated me for, and I think it's also a couple of them I come to find out they were jealous of me because I was so good with the ladies in high school. Because they always hung around me because I was the nice guy.
Because of your speak.
Because I'm what?
It's because of your speak.
Yeah, my name just ain't Jose.
And you're
Jose.
not a jalapeno.
On a stick. There's a smile.
Everybody that did bully me during the time too, they all apologized to me when she wasn't around. They actually told me in confidence, they're like, we have nothing against you. We just have to do this because if we don't, then she'll do it to us. And I'm like, you guys are scared of a little short chick. Come on.
Some of them were actually the same way for me. And it ended up me grabbing them by the shirt and pulling them in and be like, quit being a fucking sheep.
Man.
Yeah. I had that same thing with the second half of my high school years. This girl didn't like me, turned into a major bully. Her friends actually didn't like the fact that she was bullying me and actually supported me. But when they were with her, they were like, look at her and, would stand next to her, but would look at me and like sort of shrug their shoulders and say, sorry. Come the last year of high school, my mum and dad went on a holiday vacation sort of thing on a bus tour, and they're in the bus and they're talking with all the people in the bus and come across, oh, my daughter goes to this school, and oh, my daughter goes to this school, and comes across that this lady on the bus has a daughter that goes to the same school, and it ended up being my bully. My mum and dad knew that was that girl and didn't say anything to the mother and befriended the mother, got talking, da-da-da-da-da. When they got back to home, no one was there to pick up this mother. No one. She was stranded. So my mum and dad, being the lovely people they are, drove her home, everything. And the family was very thankful that the mother got driven home and everything was fine. Get back to school after the holidays, everyone knows about this. She came up to me, we had a school formal, and everyone's looking for you, she's looking for you, and everyone thought it was going to be a big like punch on, a big, yeah, exactly. But in the end, she actually took me to the bathroom and apologized and said thank you and wanted to be my best friend after that, and said that she didn't even know why she'd been bullying me this whole time. It had nothing to do with me. I'm like, oh, great. So you put me through hell for no reason, and came out with her arm around me. And I just like, oh my God, what a freaking joke. So, people do things for reasons they don't even know.
They just follow the crowd. They're friends with a bully and they think they got bullied as well. That's the problem.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Without going into too many details, siblings can also be bullies as well.
Yep.
Having that age gap gives them what I would call a mental strength. They have the knowledge and the physical strength as well, but it's weird, and they'll use that against the younger sibling. And if there's a large gap between the two of them, that physical strength kind of takes over.
Not even that, so that my brother's 2.5 years younger than me, and he's probably,
Really?
So, yeah.
I got a cousin who has a 20-year age gap on me, and he was kind of the same way. Well, until I speared him through the drywall of his house.
I have family members that tried.
I can physically remember the terror I felt being hung upside down by my ankles, looking at the second flight of stairs down.
Mine doesn't physically do anything, but it's verbal. It's verbal. But I'm sorry about that.
Being all the shit that he put me through, where I am now, where he and I now are as far as our relationship, astronomical difference.
Yeah.
Astronomical difference.
Yeah. Do you all think we're stronger for it?
Yes and no.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, with me, with my bullying, I was able to identify when someone else is being bullied. And because I had a lot of rage, I don't allow it. I don't condone it. And I would attack the person that actually was bullying another person.
Exactly.
When it comes to someone that is suicidal, I can identify it immediately.
Yeah.
And I try to talk them out of it. And I bring up my story and I go and do a heart-to-heart with them only because of the fact that I've been there and I've survived.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's going to be a hard road and it's going to be hard for the rest of your life. But as long as you keep yourself with more positive people, you'll become strong to be able to acknowledge it. You can identify it, figure out why it's happening in your head again, and you can let it go.
Yes, exactly.
Like still to this day, I have my moments.
We all do.
Salad can actually attest that I've gone so low that he had to snap me out of it.
That's why I asked the question, because I know that we're stronger for it in a certain way, but we still have our demons. They're still in our head, they're still in our heart. And to which way? And how far do we let them control us?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can either fight them or aim them.
Sorry.
You can either fight them or aim them to where you need them to go.
I try and avoid my triggers.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I know a certain situation or a certain phrase is going to set me off, I will do everything in my power to either walk away from the conversation before it happens or divert the conversation away from that.
I'm his defense.
Yeah.
I literally jump in front and he walks away and I'll be the one that's standing there still and he'd be like, no, come. And I'm like, nope,
He's
I'm
like the
right
hate,
here and I'm going to let them know.
He's like the Hades from the animated Hercules movie. He'll fire up and be like, I'm cool.
Dylan actually said as kids, we didn't realize what effect bullying could have on someone's life. Schools and parents still need to instill from a young age and how serious it is. True, but there are some kids out there that are being bullied by their own parents.
Yeah.
Fat shaming, beauty shame.
Yeah.
And those kids take it out on other other kids. There is a kid that's being bullied, or there's a kid that's bullying other kids. He's a grade 6 now, still bullying kids. Severely hurt my friend's daughter, and she's in a grade younger, that a couple grades under him. And the school didn't do anything. School won't even contact the parents. She's actually tried to get a hold of the school board. School board's still not doing anything. She got a hold of someone that knows the parents, that is in the school board, gave the number, said we can't really do much of anything, but we know that this child is being bullied by their parents. So there's really nothing that we can do, because regardless of us trying to get a hold of services, he's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It can all, and also there's been, and we all know there's been bullying here on YouTube, and especially considering that this is a vape channel, there's bullying in the vape community.
Exactly right.
There's bullying everywhere.
Everywhere we go.
And we all know Kelly Kell. And we know her situation, what she goes through. I was the first one, because she did a video. This was a while back. But she did a video crying, bawling her eyes out because somebody bullied her. 10 minutes later, what happens? Monster Man Vapes is live. And I called out every single person that bullied her that day. There are apparently people in this community that think they're above everybody else because either they have the higher paying job or they have the highest of high-end vape gear. Let me tell you a little punk something. I don't care if your vape costs you $5, $500, or $5,000. I don't care. Everybody here, whenever people are on this panel, in the chat, or on my YouTube, period, we're all equal. It don't give a shit what you vape. It don't give a shit. We are all equal individuals. And you thinking you're better than somebody else because you have a $10,000 vape? So fucking what? You just put yourself in debt. If you need to take a loan out to buy you vape gear, you, sir, have an issue. No one gets bullied on this channel.
Bullying shouldn't be happening either which way.
Exactly.
Like there is a difference between having fun and poking and prodding as long as you know the person. But if you don't know the person, don't poke and prod. Get to know the person. Get at least to a point where it's okay to do it. But like it needs to end at some point. And teaching kids, yes, is going to be the number one thing. Because kids naturally, they don't like something, they'll tell you they don't like it. And they'll act it out, say it, whatever. Like my daughter has done a couple of times where she said a couple of things that actually kind of hurt my feelings. I'm like, why would you say that? But I would go to the extreme, like, why would you say that? And then she'd just sit there like, what did I do? And I explained to her and I talked to her saying, that's another form of bullying. And then I would go in a little bit more depth for her so she kind of had more of an understanding. She doesn't pick on anybody. She recognizes bullying at her own school. She wants to start a small club at her school of an anti-bullying. And help the kids that are being bullied. She's following my footsteps, guys. When it comes to being an advocate, she's already starting.
Well done.
Exactly. You do have to ask people to be parents.
Yeah.
There's a difference between asking them and telling them. Right now, looking at the vape situation, kids getting a hold of this shit, they're not being parents. Yes, kids are shits and will still get a hold of it, but mommy and daddy aren't paying attention, caring enough. Same thing with the schools. You've got technology. Oh, they sent me an email, homework. Okay, done. There's no real interaction. Hey, what did you learn today? Okay, go sit in front of the TV. I'm done. Just
Yeah,
parents not being parents.
exactly right.
For all we know, the kids have been trying to talk to the mom and dad for months, years about this bullying, but they don't know how to. They don't have that level of communication that they should have been cultivating.
Here's
with
what
their
my
parents.
parents did. My mom would tell me about it. She'll talk to me, actually talk to me, listen to me. And then here came Dad. If they swing at you, let them swing first. After that, tear their head off, because then it comes self-defense. That's what my dad's mentality was.
And he's not exactly wrong.
There's a huge difference. There was somebody that was on there on Facebook running around. This guy was actually explaining bully behavior, the dominant behavior of how, you know, someone wants to become more of a dominant person. And I showed this video to my daughter, and she actually learned, because she has someone that's been bullying her. And before she started school this year, she's like, I don't want to be in this class. And I'm like, here, I'm going to show you a video of how you can handle it. It shows the difference between you allow it. So I'm going to use the hand gesture that he used. Here's the bully. Here's the person that's getting upset. The bully's getting bigger. But when you start talking and not acknowledging the behavior and just keeping it cool, be like, I understand that's how you feel. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do.
So real quick, the real Stevie J, bullying has been around forever. I was bullied till 8th grade, till I decided I wasn't going to take it anymore and stood up for myself. Teat Scream did a small jab at Stevie saying, so you were a snowflake at one point in time? And his response was, no, I was a kid that didn't understand I could stand up for myself.
You'd be amazed at how much power you can take away from a bully if you stand up to him.
I love that statement, Stevie. I was a kid that didn't understand I could stand up for myself. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of what my dad did. Just a more physical approach.
In a way, he gave you a quick release on your chain.
See, you can't get from what Stevie also said, he's like, you can't get parents to go to a parent-teacher conference, much less be a parent in private. There is a huge difference. There's some parents that can't go to the parent-teacher conferences because of the time scheduling and the fact that work, so on and so forth, but they can still be a good parent. Like, I can't make it to the teacher conferences or anything like that, but with my daughter, I try to instill, because I've been there. I've talked to some of the parents that are at the school too when we're waiting for our kids, and they're like, we don't know why that they're not teaching bullying. And I talk to the school. Well, we do talk about bullying. I'm like, well, what are you teaching them? And they're like, oh, well, we try to tell them like that you shouldn't do it, and everyone's promoting the anti-bullying, yada yada yada. And I'm like, that's not how you teach them, though. You're just bringing the awareness, but you're not actually teaching them how to solve the solution. Like, if a kid is being bullied by their parent, tell the kid to say, you know what, I need to find somebody that is going to help me through this. Whether that is a parent, another parent, somebody else's parent, a teacher, a counselor, a principal, anybody that is an adult figure to help you through it. Just kids don't know where to start because they don't understand, because the teachers aren't actually saying this is where you can go if you need some advice. If you're if you're getting bullied, or if you are the bully, maybe you should go here and talk to somebody.
And then there's the other side of the coin, where, like, back in the day, my brother was getting bullied to the extreme, where my mum was up there every single day fighting for him and pleading for him, talking to the principal, talking to the teachers and everything, and crying and saying, help my son, what do I do to help my son? And then they would say, do this, do this, do this, counsellors, everything, you name it, they're all involved. And then they would say, you need to do this, 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 and this. And every time he did, they counteracted it and told him off every single time. And then they became the bullies, the teachers, the principals. And I was there. I saw it. I saw them telling him off. I saw them bullying him. Yep. You know? How do you... Yeah.
The one time they did it to my daughter, I told them, they ever lay a hand on my child ever again, I'm suing the entire school and the school board for doing it.
They bullied him, and it's like, wait a minute, you are the guys that are supposed to help and stop the bullying from the other children, but you're actually doing it. You are actually instilling it and teaching the rest of the children that that's okay. But it's not. You know? So my mum was in a lose-lose, my brother was in a lose-lose, you know, and it doesn't make sense. You know? So I don't know with that one.
My brother had the exact same issue when he was going to high school. There was a specific teacher that started bullying my brother.
Yeah.
It started actually in primary school. He got fired and everything was fine. Then high school happens. My brother went to his class, like had to go to his class because he was a mandatory class. And he kept failing my brother, kept calling him names, started making fun of him, made fun of his weight. Oh, it was really bad. My mom found out about it. She went to the school, brought it up. The principal didn't do anything. It got to a point where I'm still a kid, and I told my mom, why don't you go to the school board?
Yeah.
So my mom did exactly that. She went right to the school board.
Yeah, my principal did the same thing. He was the same way. He used to look at me like, you know, you wouldn't amount to nothing. You know, you're a dumbass. You're not smart enough to graduate. Yada yada yada. Mm-hmm. Even so far to the point where he would watch me on the school cameras. One time, I went to turn the corner to go down a certain hallway and actually knocked the kid over. Now, that was obviously accidental. I helped him up and everything, picked the stuff up, told him I'm sorry, and we went our separate ways. 5 minutes later, my teacher gets a call saying I need to report to the principal's office, and he gave me ISS for knocking over that kid.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, the same that happened in primary school for my brother. Then in high school, he left and went from high school to a tech. When he was in the tech, he was doing a mechanics course, and the teacher was an absolute asshole. And the same thing was happened to you, Monster, telling him you're nothing, you won't amount to nothing, you are useless, you know, all that sort of stuff. And when he finished, he left because of the bullying from that teacher. He got a job at a light engine mechanic sort of type place, got his apprenticeship. He made apprentice of the year, all that sort of stuff. Graduated, everything with honours, all that sort of thing. And now the sky's the limit for him, you know.
Exactly.
My dad and him went back and showed him all of that, and that teacher's mouth just hit the fucking floor because the teacher really thought he was a nothing.
Yeah, same here, because it was last year I bumped into that principal at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And I walked right up to him and I said, "Remember when you told me that I was not going to amount to nothing and I wasn't going to graduate?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guess what, son? I graduated with a 3.9 GPA, and I have this.
Yeah.
Now, for anybody who's asking, this is the security badge that I have to use to get into my work. And you all know where I work at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I only had one teacher that was like that. It was my grade 7 teacher. Hence why the pent-up anger. Mind you, everybody in the class did pick on the teacher. His name, when we found out his actual first name, that was the end of it. His name was Richard Dixon. Dick.
Yeah.
So we were like, "Hey, Dick, how's it going, Dick?" And he'd get upset because he wanted everyone to call him Mr. Dixon, not Mr. Dick. So, like, it got to a point where I'll let you meet. I'll actually get you to meet him one day, because when we went to almost near the very end, he was calling out a lot of the students, and he knows that I never joke around or anything, but he lost his shit, not just to everybody in the class, but he got it over me because I was the closest one to in front of the class, and he would look directly in my face and he said to me that I'm a no good piece of shit and I don't deserve anything. I'll never become something, and I should just end my life right there and then. Yeah.
I don't understand why they do that.
They lose control.
Because
power hungry.
over time, when you have the entire student body literally or classroom going after you, it's like, oh shit. Hakuna Matata does not work.
Husa.
Goose Frost, yeah, that too. So when I got into hairstyling school and got my certificate and I got my diploma, so on and so forth, I went back to the school, and my daughter was still very tiny and whatnot, and so I brought her with me, and I went to go see a lot of the teachers that were big influences, and I saw him, and he looked at me. He's like, "Are you?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am." And so him and I talked for a moment, and he's like, "You know, a lot of the students that I said all these really cruel things to," he's like, "I want to apologize to you." I'm like, "Why?" And he's just like, "Because I was more rude to you and I didn't mean it." And I'm like, "Well, I get it, but it also made me stronger in a way." And he's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because I wanted to prove you wrong."
Yeah.
So in a way, it is a tactic that some teachers use, the tough love kind of tactic, whether it's right or wrong. Some kids it gets through and some that it doesn't.
Yeah.
That's why
I understand, but this guy wasn't using it as a tactic. He was just a complete asshole. Yeah. My brother's teacher was using it as a tactic to my brother because my brother was being a little shit. I'm sorry. My brother. Yeah.
Yeah. So he got to the point where he's got his licensing, not only being a fabricator, but also a welder. He's been a mechanic. He's been auto body, like all automotive. There was like so much that my brother actually did, and he went back and he proved to this teacher that, you know, and the teacher's like, "Good, because that's exactly what I wanted to put in your head, that you couldn't do it to make you want to do it."
Yeah.
Because my brother was that type of kid that if you say that you can't do something, he's going to prove you wrong.
I'm the same way.
So
that explains why me and your brother get along so well.
well, yeah, because my brother, he's got that I need to be right, and if you say well you can't do that, he'll be like bull caca, and he'll he'll go after it and do it himself, and then he basically proves everybody wrong. Like there was one time where I said, and this is how I found out that my brother was like this. I said, you can never do this, this, and this, and he's just like, challenge accepted. Like he turned into Barney Stinson, and he was just like, I can do this. And yes, I just did a reference to a character on How I Met Your Mother. And he did the challenge that wasn't even a challenge. And he actually did it. And I was like, okay, well, I can still do it better than you. And he's like, true, but I still did it.
We don't condone physical violence, even to adults, Stevie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like, when it comes to my daughter and with the one teacher that laid her hands on my daughter, I gave a verbal warning. And I told them, I will take action if I have to. If I see it, it will happen. They actually had to move that specific teacher to a totally different classroom for the rest of the year because they knew she was going to put her hands again on my daughter because my daughter was part of the statistics, which is another form of bullying. They'll put them underneath these type of statistics that they can put their hands on a kid, that they can yell at a kid, that they can do all these things to a kid that has mental disabilities, that have physical disabilities, and they don't really understand. Like parents think, oh, it's perfectly fine. They're making sure that my kid is, safe. My daughter's highly intelligent. Why the hell did you have to put your hand on my kid?
Yeah, I've seen your daughter work a laptop.
Like my kid is like really freaking smart.
Folks, let me tell you something. T-Cat's daughter, my niece, I've seen her work a laptop, and I was astounded.
It's definitely a thing. And holy crap.
Because like my kid told me, I don't like what she did. And I'm like, how did she hold you? She's like, Mommy, she grabbed me and she held tight and it hurt. My daughter had bruise marks.
Oh.
On her shoulders. I flipped. My daughter just finished taking her medication. When I went back to the school and I warned the principal, because I'm like, where's the actual principal? I don't want the VP because I don't like the VP. She's a lot of people don't like her. She actually got transferred from one school to another one because the majority of parents didn't want her to be there. So she was transferred. And the principal tried to say, well, your daughter is this, this, and this. And I'm like, my daughter just got off her medication. And now I got to deal with the fact that my daughter has to learn specific things now. And because you put this underneath this category that shouldn't even exist for her, I could understand if she was running across the road and a car was about to hit her to grab her like that. But to grab her just because she's running around, because she's upset, she's not upset. She's making you think she's upset. And now you're playing into her game.
Yeah.
My daughter plays a lot of mind games, just so that everybody knows. She's a master of it.
She is.
It's scary.
I will second that note.
She can make you melt. She can melt your heart, but then rip it out at the same time. It's scary. I
entered that house.
Trust me.
Yeah, trust these two faces, folks.
But over the year, like ever since that incident that happened with the teachers know that if I say, yes, put your hands on my kid if she's doing this, then it's okay. I told them, like, I have no issues, you guys, if she runs out the door and she's running across the road, to chase after her and grab her, to use physical means. Yes. But don't put her in this little statistic, because that is a form of bullying and manipulation of the system.
That's right.
And if there is other parents that are out there and they have their kids underneath this category, I pretty much put a recorder in their bag and you will hear the crap that comes out of their mouths. It is disgusting. I haven't done it with my daughters yet, but I witnessed it. And I yelled at that teacher and I told her, if you yell at my kid or any other person's kid, I will find where you live and I will sue your goddamn ass.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll actually use kids that have ADHD and OCD, ODD. I don't know if anybody knows.
Oppositional defiance disorder.
Thank you. They'll actually use those kids and try to say that, oh, your kid's doing this, your kid's doing that, da-da-da-da-da-da. Blame the kid. There's such a high rating of kids that have ADHD nowadays and ODD that they're using them as another thing.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Subcategory to push an objective.
Mm-hmm. But parents also, parents do need to learn, and at least the teachers that actually do care, that want to at least null out the bullying. It's always going to be around, but at least helping a kid identify it, or at least to help a kid that doesn't realize they're bullying to identify that this is what they're doing. Because a lot of kids they don't know. They just act because this is how they feel and they want to take it out on somebody. And sometimes they just want to be friends with that person, that other kid, but they're going around, going on the wrong way. And the parents aren't being notified, because there's plenty of parents that didn't even know that their kid was bullied. Because the teachers won't bring it up. The principals won't bring it up. I mean,
they try to hide it.
Because they have this statistics that they have to worry about. They have a quota that they have to worry about.
Like Stevie just said, you put your hands on my kid and that's assault.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, see, the thing is, I can't really relate to this part of the conversation, folks, because I don't have a kid. I don't have a kid of mine. Yeah, one day.
Why? But I can relate, because I've got nieces and nephews. I've helped raise a lot of children, look after them and stuff, and you can still understand. And you were one, so you can understand.
Yes, but Monster was a big little kid.
Again, I hit the 6 foot mark by the age of 11.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was eye level with my father by the age of 9.
Yeah.
I protect other people's kids.
Yeah.
Even when I was a teenager, I hated kids. Like, I hated them with a big passion. But if I saw a kid bullying another kid, I'd go after them. I was a teenager. I was able to.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't an adult yet, so by law, I could defend any little kid. I could beat the crap out of.
Okay, I remember.
That was the scary part.
Slightly off topic, but still on kids. I remember that one day we were all going up to your place, T. I think it was during the July shutdown, the year before.
Mm-hmm.
It was, we were at Salads. You were all there. I showed up. I go down to say hi to Izzy. All the kids are scattering because they're looking up at this titan of a man. And there's your little daughter going, Uncle Bear!
Yep. There a lot of the kids,
I can just picture walking up on 2 kids and one bullying the other. Just walking up and saying, is there a problem here? Looking down on them, and that kid just start melting away.
Like, with me, I can't say that I'm like the greatest parent in the universe, because I have my moments. Like,
No parent.
I'm not
is
gonna
perfect.
say
That's what
I'm not gonna say that I don't pick on my kid, but I pick on her. But she knows that it's not to be mean or anything. It's more of playful. I still love you, but you're being a little butthead or poking and prodding at her. She's like, stop it. Like, if she has enough, she'll be like, I don't like that. Please stop. And I'll stop. Like, okay, I get it. You don't want me to tickle you. You don't want me to, like, and I get her to laugh about it. And she can tell the difference between bullying and having fun, like an actual pick on that is friendship wise. But like when she actually had the issue with the little girl, and I brought up like the differences, and I got her to watch this one video. Back on track, what I was actually talking about. She learned from that video and she applied it. Now that little girl doesn't even know what to do. She's like, I'm so confused. It was like she hasn't come home and said, yeah, Mom, she did this to me today. Hey, Mom, she did that to me today. She said this to me, but I'm going to be nice. I'm like, there's a difference between being nice and actually telling someone enough is enough.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't acknowledge and get emotional and show that unfortunately you just got to have that thick skin at that moment of time when that person is doing something. And then now she's applying it, and now the girl doesn't even look at her. She's like, well, I can't really bug her anymore.
Yeah.
And like, my daughter, she doesn't stand up for herself, but she'll stand up for somebody else.
Yeah.
She has a friend that stood up for her, finally, after they recognized it themselves. Mind you, he also picked on her for a little bit too. Until he realized that I cut his hair, that I'm a hairdresser, and that I could seriously screw up his hair.
I'll give you a mohawk in 2 seconds. Don't fuck with me.
Well, he realized actually a lot more that does play video games as well as I do, and he's just like, really? And he actually said these exact words: your mom is cool because she plays video games, and you're cool just because you play video games.
Oh yeah, all the time. The Minecraft can get.
It wasn't Minecraft. It was Fortnite, actually. I know. Mind you, it's the only one that can be on a tablet and a computer and Xbox, and you can play on the same servers. So that's the reason why he was extremely happy. But
pause.
yeah.
Sounds like I gotta clip some toenails.
I'm afraid to go downstairs right now.
Why is
Dogs.
that? Other dogs.
I'll tell you the story later and you'll understand.
Which, by the way, a little off topic, but I think I triggered T-Cat this morning with that burger I ate for breakfast. I had a double cheeseburger and a pork tenderloin.
Yeah.
It's not my burger, so it's okay.
Your burger is heavy. Still good as fuck, though.
I'm gonna turn it into a meatloaf.
I can see that happening.
See, I'm the kind of person that whatever.
Hi, Jared. Thank you.
Hi, Jared.
Jared.
I swear to God,
Jared.
Wait.
burger.
Wait, you gotta say hi to him in his native tongue.
Told you, dad jokes.
Yep.
That's not really a dad joke.
Close enough.
Yeah.
That's a dad joke. What was the other thing? I think the main reason why we kind of trailed off a little bit is because of the fact that it got super emotional about talking our personal thing, that we had to kind of bring it about kids, because it does start with kids.
It does.
Like,
So
we're gonna still go throughout our lives having the bullying happening, but we know how to handle it a lot better than the kids. Right? Nowadays, like, we can handle it.
Yeah.
There's some people that have a bit of a harder time, but they have friends that will stand out for them.
Yeah. That's right.
so
Kids.
let me ask this. As adults, how would the panel help kids? We'll say individual, whether it's your kid or not, how would you help them if they were being bullied? I know T-Cat touched base that you'd go find the kid's parents and rip them a new asshole, whether physically or verbally.
I didn't say that one.
I thought that was you that said you'd go to that kid's house.
No, that was my friend.
Okay.
My friend's kid got beaten down by this kid and almost choked out, to the point where it, like, she had marks all over her body. She had bruising all on her back. She had to actually go to the hospital because she had something happened that they had to pop in a lot of her bones back, and she was in bed rest for at least a month.
Oh. Okay.
It was violent. It wasn't just bullying. It became an assault.
Okay.
And the school didn't even bother to do anything whatsoever. And she tried to go doing it the legal way. So now she's going to do it by going to the parents' house. And they said, but trust us, the parents won't do anything. She's like, oh, they'll do something when I sue their asses. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Then how would the panel, as individuals, respond to either help the child or take the child out of the picture? A roundabout way of helping the child without interacting with the child.
Well, I've explained to my family members that are children and teenagers that the bully actually has their own problems, that they don't know how to deal with it themselves, that it's not them that they're actually bullying, it's their own problems that they can't deal with.
They're projecting their own issues upon others.
That's right. And, you know, just to basically ignore it, or to understand and maybe reach out, or just, you know, to walk away from it. That's what I've spoken to in my life with my nieces and nephews and my cousins, and that has worked. They don't get bullied anymore, and actually I know one of my cousins spoke to one of their bullies, and it was true. And they're not best of friends or anything, but the bullying has stopped, and that said bully was going through their own thing and didn't know how to deal. So that was my approach, and given I only had a short amount of time and a very quick rundown, that's all I was able to give. So yeah, that was my approach.
T?
Me? Okay. Well, besides my daughter and my kids, because I have a different tactic with my kids, but but the clients that come into my chair, high school students, for example, you can tell that they're being picked on. You can tell that they're, very self-cautious about themselves because they've been picked on a lot. And so I usually start a small conversation with them, and I say, well, how was your day? How's school going? Yada, yada. And the moment that they said, well, I don't really like school and everything, I'm like, well, why is that? And they said, well, there's this, then they start going into the conversation about they have this person that usually bothers them or picks on them, and so on and so forth. And so I tried to say, well, have you ever tried to understand why they're acting this way? They're like, well, no. And I'm like, okay, well, why don't you try to have a conversation with them and try to talk them through it, because there could be something that's going on, and you could potentially help them with that. And if it turns out that you can't, then there's nothing you can really do in that aspect. But just say, you know what, this is how you feel, okay, and just walk away. Just, you have to ignore them, because giving them that type of emotion is going to trigger them regardless. Well, very similar to what I would do to my kids, actually, when I think about it, but a little less extensive. Actually, the one kid came back about a month and a half later to come and get another trim, and they said, your advice actually helped. They apologized for picking on me because I told them exactly how I felt about what they were doing to me. And they've been really happy. They're like, I actually enjoy school. I'm actually getting my grades up. I'm doing this now. And, I don't feel like I have to keep looking over my shoulder all the time. So I would just have a conversation about it and try to get them to help the person that's in more pain, which 99% of it is the bully that's in a lot of pain. Sometimes you just have them where they aren't in pain. That's just how they are, because that's how they've been raised. But majority of them are in a lot of pain and they don't know how to express it. So I get them to, How about you, Monster?
Well, kind of following what you said, not really standing up to him, but more of talking to him. Because as you were talking, I was kind of thinking what I was going to say. And see if you can basically get the bully out of the person and bring out the actual person of who they are. Because who knows, if someone's bullying on you, you stand up to them and talk to them, and if finds, like say if he likes games, like, well, hey, we can hop on this game tonight and play some Xbox or PS, whatever the kids are up to these days, and just have a private server going and play the game and just talk while you're playing. See if there's something, because like T and Kathy, all of us have said, a bully usually bullies because there's something bothering them. See if you can get that. Try to see if you can get them to talk about it.
Yeah.
Question.
That's what I was explaining to my nieces and my niece and nephews and my cousins, because the kids didn't understand that. They didn't know that on that level, and us as adults need to explain that to them.
You're saying say your niece, to use an example, tell them to reach out to the individual bullying them, find the connection. Okay.
Bring out the person in them. Bring out the actual person that they are. Not the bully, the actual person.
Try to find that deep-rooted connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because because like T, Kathy, you said, You know, bullies bully. Some of them bully because they have their own issues and they don't know how to express it. Their issues.
Mm-hmm.
Well, give them the opportunity to express it, but while not being a bully.
Yeah.
Become the person for them to talk to.
Yeah.
And
Make them vulnerable in a different area that they can't be showing off. In a sense.
like I said with the gaming, go on Xbox Live or PlayStation Live, play a game together, and talk, and and have them let them vent a little bit, and just talk to them like a person. And I can probably almost guarantee you, at least 8 times out of 10, that person's bullying will stop right there.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I've done that.
Yeah.
What about you, Salad?
Personally, I do a multifaceted attack. Obviously, whether it's my child or my niece or nephew, or they're going to know the child's name that's bullying them. At which point I would find out, okay, does this person have a very high society lifestyle, or are they on the lower end of the scale? I don't know a nice way of putting that. Are they being treated well at home? Just doing my own research type of thing. And if it's anything where the parents are the bully or a sibling's the bully, I'd reach out to niece, son, daughter, and tell them, you know what, we're going to have a party. Invite them and their parents. Let the kids interact outside of school and in a way where we can keep an eye on them.
Mm.
I know they're bullying you, but extend the olive branch of friendship. We'll get a first-hand experience of what kind of person is raising the bully, and go from there. And if it turns out that the parents are such god awful people that external help needs to be brought in, then do our best to get that child help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I've had a lot of parents actually try to bully me a little bit.
What? I can only imagine how that went.
Yeah. Okay, so remember when I used to have my head shaved and I had the blue hair, everything else, I looked like, I didn't look like a typical mom. So I had a lot of the parents actually say, oh, she's a mom, she's so young, and she's probably a slut. Like, I heard the little conversations that they were having. They just didn't think that I wasn't paying attention because I had my headphones on. Well,
she's paying attention, folks, I'll tell you that much.
my daughter comes out.
You can't tell if that was a tail or something.
And they realize, they obviously see, have been, because I don't go to the parents teacher conferences, and I don't go to the I can't be a typical parent with them, with my daughter that goes to the activities, to go to these places, these field trips. Sorry, that's the word that I was looking for. And a lot of these other parents do. When they realize that this little girl that I created, this little monster, okay, is coming out the doors and saying mommy and extremely happy, and actually uses her manners and asks me, can you please hold my bag, Mom? It's heavy and can you hold it, please? Yeah, no, not a problem. I'll grab it. Kids since junior kindergarten to now are still throwing their bags at their parents. And yet they were calling me all these names, and yet they see my kid that has more respect than their own. So
they're probably a little
now,
jelly.
Oh yeah. there's like huge, you can tell that there's a lot of jealousy with some of the parents. A few of them actually came and talked to me and asked me, how did I get my daughter to be this way? She's growing up. She's very mature in comparison to a lot of her peers. Like, all these beautiful comments about my daughter. And I'm like, I don't act like a typical parent. I'm not an orthodox parent. I don't go by a book. I do as I learn it. I understand in a certain level because I put myself in her situation to get an understanding of what she's going through so that I can help her with it.
Exactly.
When she started grade 1, or it was about a few weeks after the first day of school in grade 1, those girls that I was telling you about at the one time, that those little girls were bullying her right in front of me. And they're like, well, we're not allowing you to touch her because you're gross. You're disgusting, yada, yada, yada. They didn't realize that I was her mom. Ugh. And so she comes up in tears saying, Mom, they won't allow me to see what they have, like what they're doing. They're not, they're being really mean and rude. And all I asked is if I could see what they have. And I'm like, well, what do they have? And she's like, I don't know. They have these really cute toys. And I was going to see if, one of them could bring it over so you can get me one. I'm like, okay, all right, let's go. So I go over and the girls are looking at me. They're like, whoa, we really like your hair. And I'm like, I don't really like your attitude. Yeah. Right in front of their parents. And I said this to them. And I'm like, it's one thing to not like somebody, but being the way that you are and saying you're disgusting, you're this, you're that is not accepted and should never be accepted, because how would you like it if someone treated you that way? And the girls sat there and they looked at each other like, wow, you're right. I wouldn't like that either. And they apologized to her and they said, well, this is what we got. And just showed her, like showed my daughter. And she's like, oh, Mommy, can you get one of those? I'm like, yeah, no, not a problem. They had small ones. They were about like these little, they were like these little monkey things where you can hang them upside down. They close their eyes. And then they're like finger animals.
I remember those.
Yeah. Well, my daughter has 4 of them. She's got a unicorn one. She's got a purple one. She's got the 2 Christmas ones. And then she has a little tiny one. Sorry, 5. She's got a little tiny one that goes on a pencil. Hell, she decided to bring the unicorn one. Those girls were jealous because it was a lot bigger. Because it could wrap around her arm. They're like, where'd your mom get that one? And she's like, she got it off the Amazon.
It's always Amazon.
So that's my, with my daughter, I'll intervene if I see something when I'm there. She gets embarrassed by it, but she knows that it's for a good reason.
Yeah.
But she saw how I handled it, and now the girls kind of want to have what she has, so they're jealous of what she has. Like the backpack that we just got her. All the kids want the backpack. All of them. Not just one. All the girls. And I've actually had a few of the little kids actually tell me that when I was sitting down waiting for my daughter to come out, I had a couple of little girls that recognized me, and they're like, I wish my parents were like you. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, you actually spend time with Izzy. My parents don't spend time with me. My heart broke.
Yeah, that is heartbreaking.
And like the one thing that I asked them, like, well, why? Well, they always put me in all these programs when I don't want to, but I do it because this is what they want me to do.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome back.
Sometimes it's a feel-good moment when you're the one with the good shit.
Right?
Yeah.
Sorry for walking away so frequently. My dog is an idiot. I love him to death.
It happens. I love Renji. Buddy's an idiot, and I want to throw him outside sometimes.
But
I already did today.
Mom! Outside there might be raccoons.
But he's not outside right now. This was earlier today when I got home.
Raccoon.
which is another way to help with anxiety, stress, depression, having a comfort animal.
And that's why I have 2 dogs.
And small dogs are amazing for it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the big dogs that just want to pretend to be lap dogs are great too.
Yes.
Yeah, like you have a 200-pound bull mastiff sit around your lap, you're just like, get off me.
I love you too.
I think you broke my hip bone.
See, I can't wait till I have that basement done, because then I can move all the stuff after obviously vacuumed and sealed and so on and so forth. I can have the dogs roaming around a little bit more, because up here, unfortunately, there's no room whatsoever. Like I have my computer in a very, very small area.
Let's just say
That
between the
sucks.
wall and her desk, it's kind of narrow. Like I have to walk, for me to walk through, I have to walk kind of like penguin walk sideways through it.
Yeah.
Do the shuffle. Do.
But you at the same time though, T, you make do with what you got, and you try your best to give as much room as possible in that house, even though it's.
And whenever I do get the chance to, I will move stuff out of the way so that I can have my dogs up here, or at least one dog at a time, and spend quality time with them. But oh my god, with work, that is just hard. And it's about to get worse. Especially with a coworker.
Tit Scream has a mugshot link.
No, I think Teat Scream's asking Poshy Girl about the teacher with the assault charges.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But no, like if it's the way that I have Buddy trained, he's a therapeutic dog. He's just not certified because he has aggression. That's the only reason why. Because he has aggression, he couldn't pass the actual mandatory tests. But they said everything else he could pass for. But because of the fact he has that aggression, he won't be able to go on to buses. He won't be able to, like, I wouldn't have been able to actually bring him on to public areas because of that aggression.
I remember
I
one
wouldn't
time
classify it as aggression as it is highly defensive.
I remember that one time I was napping on your couch,
No.
and here came Buddy, and his head was on top of my head. It's like, morning.
What I
Buddy.
mean by aggression, at one point he was pretty aggressive because he was attacked by other dogs, so he was on a defense mechanism. Yes, with certain people, he would bare his fangs. I'd be walking down the road, and all you see is his lip just go up, and he'll be staring at that one person. He'll be like, if you come near me, I'll bite you.
Being attacked by other dogs, it became another instinct for him to react to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Renji, he's too hyper still because he's still puppy mode regardless of what I do. He's on medication, and I think I'm gonna have to up that dosage because the amount that he's getting right now is not even calming him down at all. Mind you, he's also gained weight, but he's also not too bright.
He's still.
But he'll take the pill. He'll take the pill willingly. He's like, I don't even care. It's just a pill. That's probably the one thing that I did a really good job with is making sure that my animals are able to take medication. Even my cat, I'll give her medication. She doesn't even care. She's like, okay. Don't think I can do that with Moby though. That reptile really wants to bite my hand. He's mad at me. And I don't even know why.
Bite the hand that feeds.
Yeah.
He stares at every person like prey.
Except for Izzy. and salad.
Yeah, he likes me a lot.
Like, he gave me the look of, oh, I hate you too. When his put her hand in front, he's like, hi. Like, all dopey looking. But
Oh man.
you know what? Another part with the suicide awareness. You should have also put on mental awarenesses also,
Yes. I
because a lot of people that have mental illnesses usually commit suicide.
right.
Mhm.
I hear you.
Even some of them that have disabilities, because they feel useless. They don't feel like they have a purpose.
Let's see.
That's where I step in. That's exactly how I feel. I told my husband, oh fuck, never got me going. Nah. I told him to leave because I couldn't handle him watching me, you know, in hospital and just coming back and forth from the hospital so many times, and I just couldn't handle him just sitting there for hours upon hours, days upon days, just watching me go through it all, surgery after surgery. And I just said, leave, go and have a life, just leave me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he got angry, he got really angry, and he's like, that was not in our wedding vows, you know. And he was furious because he knew I was dead serious, dead fucking serious, you know. And a few years later, because it just got worse, and I was in that headspace, I told him again, told him to leave, and it happened again, and he got angry again. I mean, this is a man who, and me, I mean, we don't argue. You know, we're not big on arguing. We do now, but back then we didn't, you know. But this man, he'll give you the shirt off his back. You know, he does everything and anything for everyone. I mean, and that's how I am, you know. But we had a massive talk, and he had to set me straight because I seriously was in that headspace. I just wanted it over because I just couldn't handle watching him go through that,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But yeah, no, I've been diagnosed with this condition for 15 years. We've been married for 17. We've both got horrible conditions, and we've been together for 24, and come hell or high water, nothing's gonna separate us. We are each other's rock, you know. And but he already knows when I'm gonna have a breakdown days before, weeks before. He sees my behavior. I don't recognize it. But once I have that breakdown, he's like, I knew this was going to happen. He's like, I could tell by what you were doing, and you know, he points it out. You were this, and this, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see that, but he does. Living with, you know, this condition, and, you know, obsessive compulsive and depression and anxiety and all of the other shit. I mean, if I told you my list of what I live with, fuck me. Go back to the title of this, you know. But yeah, it's hard.
My mom
But
tried.
I know you'll get it. Sorry, T. Go.
No, no.
You're probably-
My mom tried to commit suicide in front of me. Well, kind of. It was more of I moved back with my daughter and my ex at the time. We just moved back, and I don't know where he was. I think he went out for a little bit, and my parents were having an argument, and my daughter was sleeping, and all I hear is my mom and my dad fighting, and I'm just like, what the hell? And the next minute, all I hear is my dad saying, put that down, don't you do it. And all I hear from her is, I'm done with this. I don't get anything. I don't get love. I don't get this. I don't get that. I just feel useless and I should just off myself, da 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 da. And my dad's obviously screaming and hollering, and she's like, you just need to go. You need to get out of here and just, live your life, be somebody else that you can't be, and so on and so forth. Pretty much almost something very similar that you did, Kathy. And then my mom kind of just lost her shit, and all I hear is the ruffling and my dad screaming, saying don't do it. And then my mom, there were some choking sounds and stuff like that. So I thought my dad was like choking her out. And so I run over and I see my dad holding the pills away from my mom, and she's choking a little bit on the actual pills, and she's swallowing a couple of them. He's flipping out. So he grabs her and brings her to the bathroom, starts hitting her back to get it out of her, like to spit it all out. And he looks at me, he's like, call 911 right now. And I'm just like, what did I just come to?
Yeah.
Okay, so I go and call the dispatch and whatnot, and I told them, like, this is what's happening, can you come here just to assess my mom, da 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 da. So they come, they assessed her. Thankfully my mom only swallowed like one of her pills. She didn't actually swallow all of them. It was just like one pill went down and everything else just came out.
Yeah.
And so she ended up going to the hospital for assessment, so on and so forth. And then she comes home. I was thoroughly pissed off with her. I had my ex take my daughter out to the park as I sat her down, and I said, if you ever do that again, I will resurrect you, beat the living shit out of you, and then you can go to bed. You can rest peacefully knowing that I just beat the crap out of you. And she apologized. She's like, I'm so sorry that you had to witness that. And I said, no, I'm sorry for the fact that you feel this way.
Yeah.
I get it, but there's so much more to life than what you're doing. Yeah. And the fact that you're ready to off yourself knowing that I still need you, that you're ready to off yourself, that, my dad still needs you, your grandchildren need you, my brother, like, I just basically made her realize, like, if she offs herself, she's going to miss out on a lot of things that she's going to have a lot of people questioning.
Yeah.
And she started getting the help that she needed, and she still wants to kill herself in certain ways because of how she feels, but she's a lot better from them. So
we're coming up to the end of the stream, so why don't we end this on a positive note?
Hatch kids,
Waffles.
hatch.
What salad? I didn't quite hear you.
Waffles.
Waffles.
No.
Whatever.
Teat Scream earlier on, I don't know if it was gotten to, had asked the question, does anyone play the One Smile game?
I've honestly never heard of that.
It is a game that you play by yourself in a way. You're the only one that knows you're playing it, but the goal of the game is to make someone have that one smile. It could be that one smile for the hour. It could be that one smile of their day.
Oh, but I've been doing that for my whole life.
Right, but it is you going out of your way to give that person that one smile.
Right.
Granted, when I play, I tend to make a complete idiot out of myself. It's the cheap, you're an idiot type of reaction, but they got that smile.
The one advice that I actually would like to say for anybody that is struggling, when you wake up in the morning, smile. Go to the mirror and say, I am good. I am happy. I will get through any challenges that is thrown my way. I am smart. I am beautiful. And I'm not going to allow somebody to ruin my day. You do it every single day. Eventually, you will start believing it because you're encouraging yourself. If you don't have anybody or you feel like you don't have anybody, you just keep doing it until you come to that realization that you are what you're saying in that mirror.
Would that be your closing statement?
Yes, I'm not going to do a vaping closing sequence right now.
I'll throw the question out there because right now I'm about halfway through this bottle of liquor and sorry to set in. Salad.
Same. I'm not going to do my vaping closing statement.
Right.
Pay attention to your people around you. I would say friends, but it doesn't matter if they're your friends or not. We are all connected within 6 people from everyone else. You see someone abnormally down, you don't even have to say a freaking word to them. Just flag them down, point, and do the OK symbol. They will understand, and the fact that you took enough time to ask a great distance in sign language, whether it be broken or not, will make a difference.
There you go. Kathy, you're up.
I just want everyone out there that watches this to know that I love them all, for starters. I'm always available. If anyone needs to speak to me, need someone to, if anyone just wants to be heard, I'll listen. I'm here. Contact me on Facebook, IG, YouTube. You can contact me and I'll listen to you anytime, any day.
There you go,
I love
Kathy.
you all. And thank you, Salad, T-Cat, Monster. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your stories, your
That's
life.
right.
Even though we are dysfunctional, we're still a family.
Everybody has their baggage in all senses. Everybody has their baggage, but we all have one thing in common. We actually give a damn. We care.
That's right.
My advice, if someone's picking on you, try to see if there's a common ground you can meet with them and hopefully, in the best, to actually form something out of it. If there's no hope, then, and they continue to bully you, like Salad said, walk away.
And treat people. Sorry, Monster. Can I just say one more thing?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Treat people with respect. Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Thank you, Kathy, because I was about that too.
Yeah, you know. If you want to be treated right, treat them right. You know, because it's. Sorry, go T. No, I'm getting tongue tied. You go.
Because you know exactly how you want to be treated.
Yep.
So you treat a person exactly how you want to be treated.
Yep.
Actually, I wanted to add to the salads portion because you kind of reminded me of something that had happened to me. It's okay if you're feeling upset and distraught, and even if you don't know a person, it's okay to talk to a stranger. As weird as it sounds, a stranger's voice and opinion can make a huge difference, not only for yourself, but to them, because now they feel like they are helping someone that is in need. And that is something that is more rewarding to them. And you could change their life, even if you identify it.
There you go. Treat people the way you want to be treated.
I want to hear your voice, Poshy. Sorry.
Yeah, so do I, Poshy.
If you get picked on, and if you're getting picked on, if you're getting bullied, and there's no sign of it stopping, don't focus on the negative. Look toward the people that make you happy. Your friends, your family, whoever it is. Or you can do what I do, hop on your motorcycle and ride till your tank runs out.
Yeah, there's quite a few times he's come up to me and said, I don't want to talk, I'm not in the mood. And about 5 minutes later, I have him laughing.
Yeah.
Both you and TCAT have done that. You two and one other person have... Actually, you two and 2 other people have that power.
And what?
Make that 5 then.
5 total people.
My friend Jody and the hopefully future monster woman.
Yeah.
Which I should be meeting her tomorrow, so.
Yay.
After this stream is closed, we're having some conversations here.
I know, I kind of saw that look in your eye.
Are you hers or mine?
Probably both of ours, and he just said, I saw it, but...
Anyway, guys, I wanted to do this stream for a while. Someone told me to do 24 hours, but let's be honest, in the state that we're all in, we ain't doing no 24 hour.
No.
And I will agree with Salad's motion there with the wide eyes and the head shaking. It's like, no. We're sorry, Captain, but we just don't have the power.
Can't do it, Captain. I just can't do it.
The lithium crystals ain't got the power.
But all right, folks. Like I always say, I thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to everybody who comes on this stream. I love every single one of y'all. Y'all are beautiful bastards. Keep being you. Keep doing what you're doing. Be happy. Be safe. And as always, put on a smile. But thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, Dysfunctional Family signing off. Y'all take care.
Make sure you hit number 4.